me something good.
What was that?
Tell me, tell me, tell me.
Ooh. It's getting funky
It's got
in
a
here.
twang, too.
Funky. Hang on, I want to drink some of my warm cider.
Is that powdered cider?
No, it's cider from the refrigerator that probably has whiskey in it. Who knows?
We probably also still have a bunch of packs of that powdered cider that we've had for 10 years.
Oh, I'm sure that's still good. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I might have thrown some away when we had the mouse in the pantry. The mouse
Powdered cider.
in the pantry. Powdered cider hardly knew
Now
her.
with mouse.
How can I get some of that in
Well,
as fast as 1 hour?
Instacart.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
you
I'm
know.
practicing. I'm trying to weave it in.
Well, you know, Hannah, how can we get some powdered cider in almost as fast as an hour?
An hour, really?
As fast as an hour.
Look, I'm just reading the script here, you guys.
And as fast
Instacart. We're affiliates now.
We're affiliates. We're
like an official.
we're like a real grown up podcast. We're like a real company.
We got our first podcast job.
Said that like they would maybe give us money if people click a link. Yay!
Yay, click our link.
Cradle and a silver
It's in the notes.
Yeah, the link in the notes. What does Instacart do, Hannah?
Instacart gives you access to your local grocery stores. They do the shopping for you.
That's
and then
pretty
they
cool.
deliver it,
To your house?
which is my favorite thing.
Can I be in my jammies?
Yes.
Fuck yeah!
I mean, if you're okay opening the door in your jammies.
I usually don't open the
Or
door,
like
but if
peeking
they
out the window to make sure that the delivery person leaves.
if they have a service where I can just like sign it digitally on my phone, I'm there. But if they don't, that's okay. I'll open the door in my jammies for Instacart.
Hand selected.
Ooh.
I'm not sure why that's.
Well, I think
if it were robot selected,
it might
That would be okay with you as well.
I take that back. I would rather have my produce hand selected.
Mm-hmm. I want my melons squeezed. They do a really good job of selecting like the freshest produce. They don't just throw anything, and they actually shop. They're actually going to the store and using some discriminating taste, as opposed to just throwing whatever in the basket and going, "Here's your moldy lettuce." They don't do that. Instacart's got class.
And so, what you can get by clicking our link is
You can
free
get
delivery.
You can get free delivery on an order of $35 or more.
Okay.
Good job, Hannah. I'm glad I assigned this to you.
I'm so glad you did too.
Who's absolutely looking at the screenshot right now? Well, I have no information in front of me.
The screenshot.
Or if you sign up for Express, you can get 14 days of free deliveries. I think Instacart has a lot of different programs, and this is now me not speaking for Instacart in any way, shape, or form. But basically, it's like one subscription, and you get all your deliveries. So
Okay, that's the part I didn't know.
Yeah, say you forget like spice, like for say you're making pumpkin pie and you forget pumpkin pie spice.
That happened to me last
Instacart
year.
will bring you that little container of pumpkin pie spice, and it's still included in your like monthly delivery charge. So that's pretty amazing.
Oh, so if you know you're going to use it every single week.
If you know that, if you know it's there for you, Instacart is there for you. Instacart's like Max, who will go to the store and get me ice cream.
At any hour of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And Instacart's cheaper than I am because I am high as hell.
Because you smoke weed every day.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about drugs in the middle of a affiliate ad read.
No,
we were done with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank God.
God.
Thank God.
God.
Hannah gets all Chicagoan.
Oh.
I can't do swears. Or blasphemies either. It doesn't work. I have to. Anyway.
I have heard you swear.
I say
what are you
thank
talking
goodness.
about?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I just heard
Hannah
it
said
now.
fuck.
I just heard it right now.
Hannah said fuck.
When you called your sister-in-law's car real fucked up, that was like the first cute thing that I heard you do.
Oh. That's a real fucked up car. You're welcome. I didn't say it the cute way, but that's not for the podcast. That's only for us.
Here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the podpodcvlcast, where we talk about life, love, learning, and libido, and share our journey through polyamory and kink. I am Erik.
I'm Chastain.
I'm Max, and I'm not holding it together particularly well.
It is post dinner.
And that's not just a today
It's after
thing.
dinner, getting sleepy.
We went to a football game today. We've had a big overstimulating day. Well, so I have an easy episode for us, everybody.
Cool.
We're going to talk about jealousy.
Thank you. Yeah.
No big deal.
Just going to make it nice and simple for you. All you have to do is answer some very simple questions, give some good advice. Can you do that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
But we are not experts, and we only talk about things from our own experience.
except for me, I am actually a relationship coach who has training and working with couples about relationship stuff. So I can give you advice on these topics.
This is a podcast where we talk about love and relationships, sex and kink, and polyam issues, and whatever else comes up. While we talk about those things, we'll probably also touch on stuff like abuse and violence and mental health challenges. These can be difficult topics, so keep that in mind moving ahead.
Our first question comes from April in Arizona. And April says, I have to magnify it, make it real big so I can read it because I am also old. April says, what are some normal jealousy triggers in polyamory as opposed to abnormal?
Are we talking about like what are red flag things?
Well, and then she says, what are the red flags when you know it's not working? And in terms of healthy relationships and being open with each other, at what point do each of your partners have say in your relationships with other people? Does jealousy mean it's not right for you? Or are there other ways you can all work towards a mutual connection, such as activities or things you should discuss together? So it's a big, long question. But the first question is, are there any normal jealousy triggers? Like, what would we consider normal jealousy in any type of relationship, not just polyamory?
Can we start with jealousy as normal?
Jealousy is very normal.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, we always come back to this when we're talking about jealousy. Jealousy is not a thing in and of itself.
Right.
Jealousy is a blanket term that we use for a set of emotional reactions we have to different stimuluses within our relationships with other people, whether they're capital R or lowercase r relationships.
And often based on our experiences. So what triggers you and makes you feel jealous about a thing might not matter to somebody else.
Right.
So Max, say you go out on a date with Hannah, but you wear a shirt that I gave you, that might make me have a jealous feeling. Or I could give no shits whatsoever. It really just depends. Everybody's a unique individual, and the things and their history and what things mean to them and how personally they take things, all of that plays into what can trigger jealousy.
I think...
What would you consider an abnormal jealousy trigger?
Well, hold on. I think that I'm going to come back again and again to the difference between, in my head, jealousy and envy in this conversation. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to try to talk my way through understanding for myself the difference between those two things.
Okay.
And I think inside of non-monogamous relationships, polyam relationships, the thing as far as a jealousy trigger, I'm using quotey fingers, is feeling envious over what one partner has that you're not getting.
Right.
So if you have,
time,
a partner who has another partner and you feel like that partner is getting more time, that partner is giving him more sex, that partner is getting more cute gifts or whatever it is, phone calls in the middle of the day. It doesn't matter what it is. I think that is probably the most common sort of thing, that person is getting what you're not getting, that triggers a feeling of envy rather than the blanket term jealousy.
So would you say that envy falls under jealousy?
It's a rhombus, not a square. No, they're related. Would
you say that jealousy is an umbrella term, and that in that term, envy falls under that term, under that umbrella?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to get at is that it is
There is a distinction.
Definitely related, but I'm trying to be precise about terms and understand for myself how I feel about a thing or things in general.
Okay. That's okay.
I agree with that, though. I think it has been important for me personally to make a distinction between, like, what is this that I'm feeling? Am I feeling like somebody else is getting the thing that I am owed, the thing that belongs to me? Mm-hmm. There's a possessiveness there that says, like, I was entitled to a thing and it got taken away, versus envy being, I really wish that I had, maybe I'm looking at a completely separate couple that I have no relationship to. Like, I wish that I had this dynamic or this thing that I see in this partnership. Almost seems more benign to me in a lot of ways. Like, I've had less harm in my life from looking at somebody and saying, I want what they have, and then working back into, like, how do I make that possible for myself?
Right.
Versus saying, like, somebody took something from me.
Yeah.
Because almost all the time, if I stop and break that down, the jealousy that I'm feeling is not quite as valid or as one-sided as I thought it was.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe that's my like red flag line there. Is,
okay. So what would you say is abnormal jealousy in any type of relationship, and then specifically polyamory?
I think.
I mean, are we getting into toxicity at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that, I have had an experience with a former partner who it felt like looked for things to be jealous about, that had a behavior where they would scour social media looking for something to say, oh, you did this thing with this person that you didn't do with me, and that was a giant red flag for me that I ignored for a very long time, because I wanted that relationship.
Yeah.
And, so I think that is abnormal, an abnormal type of jealousy, and I think that is a red flag.
In terms of healthy relationships, and this is going back to April's question, April gave a kind of a paragraph of a couple of questions that I thought were all really good questions. In terms of healthy relationships and being open with each other, at what point do each of your partners have a say about your relationships with other people? So I think what they're asking is, like, do your partners have say about your relationships with other people? And if they do, when does that happen? Or how do you make that work? Am I making that clear?
Well, is that directly tied to jealousy? Conceptually, anyway?
I think so. I feel like this question is dancing around the thing that we don't like to talk about in polyamory, which is veto power.
Right. That's yeah, and I think, Chastain, you and I have worked towards not having such a say in each other's relationships. I think that the healthy place to be is trusting your existing partners enough that they can talk to you about their feelings about things that are happening in your other relationships, without saying you can't be in this relationship or you can't do that thing.
Right. I absolutely believe that my partners, both of whom are in this room at this time, are adults, and you can make the decisions you make. But I also get to consent to what I consent to. And if you become involved with somebody that I don't consent to be around, or I feel is unhealthy, and that's a problem, then I can then change the nature of my relationship with either of you to protect myself as needed. And that comes down to consent for me. So I don't, Max, you don't have any say over my relationship with Eric. Eric, you don't have any say over my relationship with Max. But I'm sure if either of you saw a problem, you would point it out to me, and you'd be like, hey, you.
Right.
And I would listen to you, and then I'd be like, well, but I'm still going to love him, so.
Yeah. Hannah, you look like you were trying to jump in. Did you have something to add?
Oh, yeah. Well, because this is reminding me of something that I saw in one of the polyamory Facebook groups that I'm in, where someone was saying that they realized that if, I'm quoting, my partner has sex with someone I find to be completely disgusting as a human being. And they clarify that as really bad personality, treats metas poorly, I lose all attraction to them. It's a rare thing, but it's happened twice before. How do I go about dealing with this in my future relationships? Even thinking of it gives me low-level anxiety.
I mean, for me and myself, seeing people that I am attracted to with people that I find utterly repulsive as human beings is a turnoff. And it does take me time to readjust to like getting back to the norm.
Well, and for me, it has given me in the past feelings of devaluing my own feeling about my
if I think somebody
value to that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I find somebody is just kind of questionable from my standards, but I see that somebody is pursuing them, then it makes me question, like, why then are you with me? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's perfectly normal and reasonable to think that I'm going to constantly be evaluating the person that I have the relationship with based on their actions and their choices and who they choose to associate with. It does reflect on you, who you choose to spend your time with. And I think that's unavoidable. I feel for this person who is posting, though, in the sense that, like, if that's a major anxiety, like, oh, I'm going to get into a relationship, but then they're going to be free, to connect with somebody that I, find repulsive, and that's going to ruin everything. Like, that's kind of just relationships for you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people,
Monogamous or not.
right?
Yeah, like that's just
That's
gonna
a process of discovery.
Yeah, perhaps.
And unfortunately, sometimes you get hurt.
Yeah.
I think,
Look at it as an ever-shifting line. It's no, it's
happen. All relationships end. It's okay.
you know, I think I'm returning to where we started with this question, to say that for me personally, a goal in my relationships, my two sitting here with me long-ish term relationships, is to be healthy enough in those relationships that you two feel like you can talk about issues in any other relationship that I have or relationship with each other, and that I can be healthy enough to not feel like I have to get defensive about it or angry about it, to just accept your feelings without going, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And
Yeah.
Well, I think
you
this
don't
is
even
an-
know what's going on.
This is an area of growth for all of us, I think,
Sure.
right?
But
Well, that's why I said it's a goal.
yeah, it's great to be able to talk through that, though. I don't know if you, sorry to bring back to communication, but I don't know. I don't know that you can have that feedback, that's good for everybody and, on all sides and builds each other up without, a lot of talking, without being free to say, like, here's what's going on with, me and this other person. I know that not everybody's polyamory works that way, but I have really valued having open communication about, everybody's individual relationships and how we're feeling and what we're thinking about things, because without that, you don't get that feedback, you don't get that support. And I think that opens the door to jealousy and bad feeling. At least it does for me. Not knowing is always worse.
Not knowing, yeah, because when I don't know, I jump to conclusions. I suppose, I assume.
Right.
I'm not supposed to assume because it's one of the 4 agreements. Max, I have a confession.
Yeah.
So the other night, I spent some time with your partner, Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
And she and I set up our yoga mats next to one another. And she said, oh no, now we've slept together because we were doing yoga nidra and it's the sleeping, napping yoga. So we hope that you're not upset that we did napping yoga next to one another.
Yeah, it's fine.
Too
You know
open,
why?
too communication.
You know why? Because I didn't have to do it with you.
I don't think I've ever invited you to yoga, nor would I.
But you have done yoga nidra here and asked me to participate in
I
it.
have tried. All right. So does jealousy mean, this is still April, does jealousy mean it's not right for you?
Jealousy is a normal human reaction
Good.
to a set of stimuli.
I agree. Okay. So some of these questions are from Facebook. Some of these questions are from people emailed. Some of these questions are from Instagram. And some of these questions are from Whisper. I made a post on Whisper. And
Are you going to tell us, or are you just going to...
tell you what the post was?
No, tell us
From
where...
whence
From,
this-
So
yeah.
that was a Facebook question.
Okay.
And I made sure that I got consent to use questions from people on the social media stuff and made sure I asked if it was okay if I used their name and where they are located. They told me that it was okay. On Whisper, it's an anonymous app, so I'm not giving out usernames. I will give out locations if I have them and gender. This question came from Whisper. The question is from a 21 to 25-year-old male. Are you jealous? I asked for questions about jealousy, and this person asked me on Whisper,
That is
are
a
you
Whisper
jealous?
quality response.
Yes. Are you
Next.
jealous? No, but wait. But are you jealous right now? Are you having?
Right now?
Are you experiencing any jealousy in your lives?
no.
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, great, awesome.
No. I could say that there are plenty of instances of envy here and there that are like, but that's not the same thing. I'd say, just to go circle around to that for a quick moment while the next question's coming up. Jealousy is when you take envy personally.
I agree with that.
Oh, yeah. That's
And
pretty, yeah.
and that's where it can leave a constructive possibility, and it's just no longer constructive.
Yeah, I try to think of it as I can be envious of and jealous about, right? I can be jealous about someone else, but I am envious of what they have.
Sure, yeah, envy can be a motivator, but jealousy is when, that's the dark side.
Okay, I have another question for you. This comes from AC. in British Columbia. And AC asks, how much honesty and or transparency is necessary in relationships?
AC Slater?
No.
How much honesty and transparency? Two different things, right? All the honesty is necessary. Only as much transparency as you agree to is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. How important is it to agree to rules that will govern your relationship? And should it happen up front? That's also from AC in British Columbia.
I have an answer, but I don't want to dominate answering all the questions.
Well, is that specifically with respect to jealousy?
Well, I think it goes into honesty and transparency, and it naturally jumps off of what Max said.
Sure. I can think it's useful as an inhibitor of jealousy.
Okay, how?
I think this one's tricky because having clear boundaries is awesome, especially if you're cultivating like flexibility and revisiting all of that and making sure that it's working for everyone. I think that in this particular context, a lot of times we tend to fall into a trap, which is we had a rule about this, therefore you're not allowed to feel the way you're feeling right now. Like you're expressing jealousy, but we had a prearranged agreement that this was fine. So when very often jealousy isn't about, the other person being wrong, something else is happening that's making it, making things difficult, that's making those emotions crop up. And if your reflex or your defense is to say, but we had a rule about this, I think that's difficult. But that said, the sooner you can establish clear boundaries with somebody in a relationship, the better. If you're showing up to a first date with a list of demands, maybe you're overstepping the boundaries that are naturally built into that kind of interaction. Mm-hmm. But
too much too soon.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think it varies.
I think, that's what I was going to say about like the off the top. If that would be a red flag issue if someone on a first date like whipped out a relationship agreement. But I think we all have a sense of when it's the time to go, so is this a relationship? Like, are we partners? Are we dating now? Mm. And when you have that feeling is probably the time that you start negotiating what level of transparency and what you need to discuss and that sort of stuff. I want to revisit my first answer real quick.
Okay.
About honesty, because, we're grown-ups, but, maybe I should be more clear to say that, like, we all know that honesty walks hand in hand with tact, and being tactful about what you say to a person doesn't mean that you're being dishonest. If you say, does this look all right on me? And I go like, yeah, it looks great. Like, maybe I'm putting my thumb on the scale of the truth there,
so are you
but I'm being tactful.
Sweatshirt and jeans was not my look today. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, that's what you're saying.
Oh. Is there an agreement about that? I don't know.
Moving along.
But what I'm saying is, honesty and tact are partners.
I agree with that. I know a lot of people who subscribe to radical honesty, and that to me usually just ends up as them being a dick.
Yeah.
Because
it's licensure for it.
Exactly. Like, oh, well, I'm just being honest. Well, okay,
Good.
but
That's
it was
fun shield.
Yeah, you don't have to say everything out loud. Like, not everything needs to be said. Yeah. I think that it is important to establish boundaries and to establish a list of needs. I had a conversation with somebody today, actually, about how it's important to establish the things that are your definite needs in a relationship, and then the things you want, and then the things that you're really willing to either compromise on or collaborate on. So, it's kind of like kink. You have your hard limits, your soft limits, which you're a little flexible on, and then the things you're really into. And being able to know those things for yourself is the first step in being able to communicate them to other people. I think so often in relationships, we don't take the time to sit down and examine that for ourselves. So we aren't able to articulate those thoughts and feelings and needs to others in a way that they can understand. So it prevents any boundary crossing later on. I think it's always a good idea to have an agreement. I think relationship agreements are great. It doesn't have to be on paper. I think just having a conversation can be enough sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this is a problem for me because I am not necessarily a person that always knows my own mind and knows what I want and need.
Right.
So it's impossible for me to express those things to my partners if I don't know it for myself.
Yeah. Exactly. If you don't know, you can't tell other people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We ready for another question?
Bring it.
All right. This question comes from Amanda in Virginia. Why does it seem like you aren't even allowed to acknowledge jealousy without being judged for it? And how do you express how you're feeling without looking petty as fuck? Also, how do you handle it when your partner never shows any kind of jealous emotion and part of you kind of wishes they would? Like, not stupid raging jealous, but maybe just a little bit.
We're socialized to think that jealousy means caring.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is often an issue because there's often an imbalance just in the nature of different personalities between one partner who has quicker jealous feelings and the other partner who does not.
Can I say with caution, sometimes the thing that jealousy is trying to tell you is that your values are not aligned with your partner's. Mm-hmm. So if you are consistently feeling like the other person does not value the thing that's really important to you, maybe that is something to examine closer and have a conversation about. Waiting for the other person to feel jealous or like testing the boundaries of what they want to allow can be part of that process of discovering where maybe the things that you value are not quite aligned in that area.
Something that I hear frequently, especially from women, is my partner is afraid to do A, B, or C because they're afraid I'm going to act jealous or be jealous. And I say, what's wrong with feeling jealous? It's just a feeling. It's how you respond to it and act outwardly that's the problem. If jealousy makes you abusive or yell at somebody or hurt somebody, that's a problem. But if jealousy just makes you go, hey, I have some uncomfortable feelings and I would like to talk about them. When is a good time for us to do that? Here's a kind of a quick summary of the feeling so you have a heads up. And can we schedule that time? Then you're asking for the other person's consent. They know what's up, so it's not just one of those like, can we have a talk situations, which is really anxiety inducing. Because when you have jealous feelings, you already feel a little persecuted. And when the person that you're going to doesn't respond well to jealousy that you're expressing, it feels even worse. This is a thing that I struggle with because I frequently feel like not jealous feelings, but just feelings of like, hey, I have needs and I'm not having them met and I need to express, and I need to just talk about the feelings. I don't need them fixed. Maybe I don't even need change, but I need to talk through the feelings. And the response is, well, I should do an action or I've done something wrong. And no, nobody's done anything wrong. I just have feelings. And I think that, for me, I have trouble conveying that my feelings are not reality. My feelings aren't what I think the situation actually is. My feelings are just the thing that are happening to me at the time, and I know that they will pass. I identify with this person because, you do feel judged when you don't get that positive response back of like, okay, well, let me hear your feelings and let's talk about it. And it's hard not to feel defensive when somebody says, I'm jealous of this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or to downplay it, to say, oh, well, that's no big deal. That doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Which is often just not the way to respect somebody's feelings either. I feel like I've been on both sides of that.
Yes.
I've definitely been the one minimizing and saying, well, this isn't important to me, so I don't see why it should be important to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
in that sense, it's kind of like sparring, yes?
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
And if, you on a jealous side spar towards a partner that doesn't spar back, then that's just as much of a red flag, yes? Or not.
What do you mean?
Not really what I mean, but it's not there was the part about you.
The other partner not being jealous?
Yeah, when they're not. And
So,
they feel like they should be.
Not everybody feels jealous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Max, you don't experience jealousy the same way I do. No. Eric, you don't experience jealousy the same way I do. No. Hannah, you don't experience jealousy the same way I do.
No.
See? Yeah.
We're all unique.
yeah. And whether we feel judged by our partner or whether we feel judged more broadly, like a lot of that has to do with the fact that if you're a polyam true believer, you're evolved beyond jealousy, right?
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Jealousy exists.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, jealousy exists, yeah. So jealousy is normal. This is a thing that we're establishing. Jealousy is normal. It's good to communicate your needs proactively because that can help avoid jealousy. And it's good to communicate in general because knowing things typically helps other people not jump to worse conclusions, right? Mm-hmm. What other things are we kind of establishing as a theme here? Envy is not the same thing as jealousy. They're definitely related. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
And I think what Max is saying about us being socialized to feel more valued by a jealous partner is really real, even if we may not notice that creeping into our lives. I think it does.
Yeah. We got another one?
Point.
Oh, yes. Points awarded.
Okay. So this is a question from Justin in Colorado. Should a person never be jealous?
Not possible.
Well, there are people who are never jealous, and that's probably a symptom of personality more than anything else. So if you are a person who doesn't experience jealousy, then yes, you should never be jealous.
Okay.
If you are a person who experiences jealousy, you should not strive to never be jealous.
There's nothing wrong with being jealous.
And as Hannah said a minute ago, it can be an indicator of something important is going on.
Right.
You know, the same way that a pain in your leg could mean something real bad should be checked out.
Right.
Or it could just be a pain in your leg.
Right.
I sometimes think, well, I would love to never be angry or never be frustrated. But those are also really important parts of who we are as human beings for most of us. And I don't think suppressing that is the way to go. And I definitely don't think you should hold your relationships to that standard, that the less jealousy I experience, the better a match this is. That's a really difficult path to walk.
If you're enjoying the Podpodcvlcast, check out our podcast show notes at www.podpodcvlcast.com or keep up with us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook at podpodcvlcast and Instagram at cultwithav. Love us? Give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or help us continue to make this podcast possible by becoming a patron. Head over to patreon.com/podpodcvlcast. Remember, that's Cult with a V. Our patrons get access to exclusive content, cool swag, and our exclusive Patreon series, the Cultcast Media Club podcast. Ready for another question? Mm-hmm. Okay. This is a whisper question from a 30 to 35-year-old man.
How big your tits?
It's more than 3 words, it looks like.
No.
I was dating a Cambodian girl, and she broke up with me. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out what I can work on to do better / be better at, etc. And if I'm being honest, I'm a little jealous because after she broke up with me, she started dating another guy in like 2 to 3 weeks. But I haven't texted her or anything since we broke up. I'm trying to give her space.
Okay, talk to me about the thing where people break up and actually they just think that that's a time for them to like work on their issues and then get back together. Because I don't understand this at all. And it's never worked that way for me. So I just don't understand the like, well, I have some claim to this person still, but I haven't really reached out. But when I do, I have this expectation of response. Why is it like this?
What's the age range on this?
30 to 35.
Oh, that's much too old. Because this was a feeling that I experienced in my early 20s, the first longest term relationship that I had when I got dumped. Like, I had the feeling like, well, in a week I'll be able to call her and work things out. I need to give her space for a week. 30 to 35 is much too old to have kind of immature feelings about that. Why did we need to know the nation of origin of the person he was dating?
I mean, honestly, the whole thing is fishy and weird and sketchy. It is Whisper, the land where everything goes to just be gross.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he refers to her as a girl and not a woman. It's a whole lot of stuff.
He says that she's already dating someone.
It's been 2 to 3 weeks. She can date somebody if she wants to.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean already in like a
I know
way, but
I think that
so she's potentially started a new relationship, and he is going to start texting her. To what end?
He says he hasn't started texting her. He's not
going. Like I think that
but
implies
that's what he is,
that. Yeah. To what end? Like what? Yeah, all of it's crappy.
Like, here's my feeling: if you are experiencing jealousy about someone you are not currently in a relationship with, I do have a problem with that.
Yep.
Please get that checked out. Not with the person you're experiencing the jealousy with,
but talk
because
to
you
a
don't
friend.
have a relationship with them.
Talk to a friend. Talk to a
someone else.
relationship coach. Talk to a mental health professional. Talk to your doctor.
Talk to your mother.
If you're experiencing obsessive thoughts about any person that you're not in a relationship with currently, or if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're experiencing obsessive thoughts, please seek assistance from a professional. Not us. We're not experts. All right. Did we cover that one? Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just move on.
All right, next question. And I think we already covered this one, but I just want to go ahead and answer it anyway. This question comes from a 21 to 25-year-old male on Whisper. Why do women find male jealousy attractive? There were times that I had to be fake jealous with an ex to make her happy.
Well, it goes two ways. We're socialized to think that jealousy means we're valued. We are also socialized to think that they think jealousy means they're valued. You know, I talked about this in an early episode. Like, I played a role sometimes thinking like, oh, I have to be jealous for her to think that. She probably doesn't think that. I think she thinks that.
I to be honest, I don't have any experience with that at all. No, really, I didn't think that women thought that that was an attractive quality.
There is a very, very small part of me that enjoys possessive behavior from a partner. Very small part. Very, very small. A healthy amount of possessive protectiveness. For example, you and I were at a show and people were sort of boxing me in and you kind of shouldered them out of the way and you sort of made sure that they weren't like in my space. Mm-hmm. That was a level of protection and caring for me. And it didn't translate as possessiveness, but that was a level of like, you know, like, hey man, back off, that I found attractive.
Okay.
I can't explain it.
Do you think that people are not having open conversations about whether or not their relationship is exclusive? Is that where some of this is coming from?
Yep.
Like, people are using expressions of jealousy to be like, no, you're not allowed to talk to other boys anymore because you're my girl. Instead of just saying like, here's our relationship agreement from this point forward.
We live in the Tinder age, and I think that everybody is dating the same way they always have, which is where you date a couple of different people until you find the one you want to hang out with more, and then you hang out with that one, and then the other people kind of taper off, or you decide to become exclusive. That's the monogamy path, right? Yeah. So, like, I feel like people just aren't going like, I'm dating these other people. I mean, but in the age of Tinder, people also aren't using condoms. So I don't know what the fuck's going on out there. I really don't. It's very confusing.
Yeah. And somebody shared with me recently that it had occurred to them that they should probably have that conversation and just say like, hey, did you know that I'm not seeing anyone but you? Is that also true on your side? And I was like, oh, that sounds really like a difficult and exhausting conversation to have when you've already like made that commitment.
Actually,
I don't know.
Eric, you and I had a conversation like that, didn't we?
A while ago.
Yeah, like, I mean, like long time ago, like almost 2 years, like less than 2 years ago, but like almost. It was maybe within 3 months. We had the like, no. So here's how my relationship conversations with Eric.
As I said, it was a while ago.
It was a while ago. So here's how my relationship conversations with Eric go. I go, are we a thing? And you go, I guess. And I go, okay, cool. And then that was the end of the conversation. And then I we didn't see each other for 3 weeks. And I was like, I haven't been seeing each other. And you're like, all right, I haven't been seeing each other. And it's seeing each other. I haven't been seeing anybody. And you said, I haven't been seeing about anybody either. And that was how that conversation went. It wasn't like we're exclusive or blah, 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 blah.
So is your relationship agreement, are we a thing? Checkbox, yes, no?
Yes.
More or less.
Is that what it looks like?
Yeah.
It's actually like one of those fortune teller.
down.
Yeah, it's not.
So you're going to live in a mansion and I don't remember how the rest of
No,
that
that's
thing
a waste
went.
of space. Eric is a minimalist, and I have a big enough house. Eric and I don't want to live together.
But those are conversations, right? Checking the box is checking the box. But
Right.
it does seem like with some of these issues with jealousy and possessiveness, people are trying to like clue someone in or like trying to read somebody's mind to figure out where they stand with them. When
I think
you could
people are
just
afraid
talk.
to ask those questions,
Yeah.
though. I mean-
sorry.
Go ahead.
Cultcast rule number 1, use your big boy words.
Talk to your partners. We had an entire episode called Talk to Your Partners. I think that it's important to say that if you have questions about how somebody feels about you, just ask. It's not going to make them run away from you. And if they do run away with you, if they do run away from you just because you asked a question, maybe that was not meant to be. And that's okay too. All relationships end.
But you can text them in a week after they start dating somebody else, and it's fine.
Only if they're Cambodian.
No, especially when they've moved to, to some other culture and maybe they changed their mind on things once they got there.
We don't know that she's in Cambodia. We just know that she is Cambodian.
I mean,
We have both
don't
too
know.
much
It was,
and too little
Pull the
information.
record.
We don't have enough information. I mean, I didn't.
was a whisper
Okay,
question. I'm
listen.
not
I
giving
screenshotted
any of
it.
that
I did not
credence.
engage. I didn't respond. I can go respond to this guy right now and
No,
talk
we're
to him.
good.
Tell me
No,
more
good.
about Cambodia.
So-
Okay, you just said Cambodia.
Cambodia.
oh no.
Carry on.
Moving on, we have a new question. Yay! This question comes from Anna in Virginia. Anna says, "What are your best in-the-moment coping methods for dealing with jealousy?"
Smoke weed every day.
That was my answer.
So
I
here's a
guess we
situation.
don't have any.
So okay,
Well, okay. Cultcast rule number 1, use your big boy words. I'm not saying I'm good at that, but that should be the answer, right?
use your big boy word. Okay, well, all right. Let's talk about what happens when jealousy flares up within each of us. Can we be candid about that? Do we feel comfortable with that? Does that feel safe for us to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. So, who wants to go first?
I mean, I generally isolate for a short time and then come back.
When jealousy flares up.
Yeah.
Have you felt
That's
jealous?
kind of my reaction to most things, though.
Okay, my next question is, have you felt jealous about me?
Not really.
Okay, good. Max, your turn.
Ideally, in a good situation, the way I respond to it, and like most things, is just try not to address it in the minute, because, and the next morning, I'm probably not going to feel the same way about it or
Right.
whatever. And if I do, you talked about going to your partner and like addressing these things. Like for me, because I know that these sorts of things can often just kind of fade away on their own. Like talking to someone else about it other than my partner feels better to me, because there's no need to me to bring new stress into that relationship when it's probably just going to fade away on its own.
So, can I reframe that for you?
Go on.
Oh, okay. So when you have a jealous feeling that may or may not be based in reality, and you know that it's a very temporary feeling and it's going to fade away, you choose to talk to a friend or other support system rather than going to your partner, the source of the jealousy at the time, because you know that it's not worth having conversation over, because it's not going to fix anything or change anything. You're still going to have the feeling. It just needs to fade with time. Is that correct?
That is a much more articulate way to say what I was trying to say. Yes.
Okay. So your coping skill is to talk to a friend.
Yes.
Okay, great. And in a bad situation?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not terrifically good at it. So in a situation where I'm compromised by being tired or hungry or cold or drunk or whatever it is in the moment, I am much more likely to pop off and be like, well, what the fuck was that?
And that always leads to
An argument.
Okay. Hannah, what about you? How do you, in the moment, what happens when jealousy flares up within you?
In the moment, I feel anxious and lonely and distraught, because usually my jealous feelings are about quality time spent or not spent. And I remember, like early on in Max and my relationship, I tried to deal with that by just throwing myself into another like random relationship direction, like maybe I'll just go on a date with somebody and acting in a way that was spontaneous and like uncharacteristic for me because I thought, well, I'm not entitled to his time. So clearly I need something that's completely different. And over time I've settled in more, I think, to be able to say, first of all, like Max was saying, will I feel the same way tomorrow? Or is this just an emotion that's going to pass? And if I do feel the same way the next day, maybe we have a conversation about what I actually need. But I think, some of that is just maturity in a specific relationship where now I feel like I can say, like, we're partners in this. So if you're feeling a certain way, I want to hear about it and try to solve the problem and vice versa. Whereas early on, it was easy to say, well, like, nobody owes me anything, so I'm just going to have to tough it out on my own. Like, true, maybe sometimes, but not the whole story at all.
There have been times in the past in our relationship that you have expressed feeling like you're not a good partner or not a good enough partner because you're not dating anyone else or you're not staying what you think is busy enough.
Yeah.
As though...
Like I lean on you in an unfair way or demand too much of your time and attention.
I don't feel like at all and never have felt like. But that has been... You have sort of a... opposite reaction that most people have. Like, I'm not being a good partner because I'm dating too many other people right. Or I'm keeping myself too busy. You've always felt like, or it seems like you felt like you were being too much of a burden because you're not, filling your time?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, like I'm too passive or too needy or whatever the case may be. And my main coping mechanism for all things is to dissolve into hysterical tears because I hate conflict. So we've made some strides here.
Yeah, good. Well, so in an ideal world, if you had a coping mechanism that you felt like really worked for you in the moment, like what would you do in the moment that you feel like would help you?
Season 2 of The Wire.
Ooh.
That's
Distraction
what you do.
is not a bad thing.
Distraction is never a bad thing.
Has not let me down in the past to just say, like, what if we didn't focus on the things we're afraid of? And then we revisited this to see if it was really an issue. And most of the time, it's really not.
So I want to share this with you. Anna, the person who asked this question, has given me a piece of advice recently, which was, you know what? The bad feelings, we don't have to feel them right now. We can put them aside for a little while and do other stuff. We're going to come back to them. But why don't we put them in a box? So let's just think about putting them in a box and putting them aside. And then let's focus on the things you want to focus on and then come back to them when you feel calmer and better prepared to deal with them. So, Max.
As long as you come back to them.
You have to come back to them. Otherwise, you're avoiding them.
No, I love that. I can't remember which podcast it was this week that was saying, what if you just scheduled a time to worry about things like at 4 p.m. today?
Yeah, a worry 10 minutes. Yeah, I do that. I schedule like a 15-minute period where that's when I do all my like money worries, house worries, all that stuff, like relationship worries, all the worries. Yep, it really helps because then you get it all out at once.
I love that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just trying to push down the emotions and then they crop up in ways that aren't connected to the real, the real thing. Yeah.
So Max, you're in real time, you're dealing with a jealous feeling coping thing is talking to a friend.
Well, in real time, I mean, if we're talking about in the moment.
Well, in the moment.
It's kind of what you're saying is putting it in a box.
Put it in a box, put it aside. Yeah. And then you go talk to a friend.
And usually walking away from the person that I'm having that, like, it's not going to profit me to continue to, like, try to have a normal time and grit my teeth.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go to the other part of the party or I'm going to,
Okay, so removing yourself from the situation or changing your environment.
Right.
And then maybe talking to a friend or texting a friend or something like that. And then Hannah, distraction maybe works for you and maybe setting feelings aside in a box. And Erik watching season 2 of The Wire, which is available now on HBO with a Prime subscription or an HBO Now subscription.
I meant
not sponsored.
A code switch of some type in general.
Yeah, you need to change your environment and code switch. You have to go back to a happy mental place.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a happy one necessarily. It's just changing the channel for a moment.
Your happy mental place is The fucking Wire.
That is one.
It's a gritty Baltimore crime show. That's your happy place.
Yeah.
We are going to go and dwell on the fact that many people have it worse.
Well, no, that's
things are darker
really how
elsewhere.
Taking that to me. It just feels like home.
Yeah, it reminds him of Richmond.
Oh.
Well, that's a long thing to explain, but sure. No, but in general, it doesn't have to. Another thing that I would often do, not necessarily for a jealousy coping thing, but just in a processing thing in general, is to just get in the car and drive somewhere and see where I end up.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, driving. Yeah.
Usually back roads because they're fun to drive.
It's best to do when you're sober.
Sure.
Yeah.
Please be safe.
And not upset.
And not upset.
No. Purely for the enjoyment of the drive.
Yeah.
So
Farfignugan, you would say?
Yeah. Actually, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oder Farmfreude.
So when jealousy flares up in me, it manifests as anxiety and it manifests as feelings of not good enough. And that triggers a lot of other stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the jealousy or the relationship or anything like that. And so anytime anxiety flares up within me, my fight or flight just like kicks in and I need to remove myself from the situation. I'm also not good at removing myself from the situation, and I'm a chronological processor, meaning that I have to go over what happened over and over and over again from start to finish until I figure out like where did I go wrong? Where did the feeling start? When does the feeling end? And all that stuff. So it's like this loop I get stuck in.
Yeah.
It's, it's a type of rumination. I don't know. It's bad. But the things that help me are being able to talk to somebody that I trust to hear me. The things that don't help me are trying to process them with the partners at the time, because typically that never works out for me. And I usually try to do things like breathing exercises or play a game on my phone, distraction stuff. Or I reach out to a self-care buddy. I have a list of people that when I feel funky about anything, I reach out to. I have 5 people. So that really works out for me.
Yeah, in most kind of negative headspaces, jealous feelings, envious feelings, angry feelings, again, in situations where I'm not terribly compromised, like I can kind of pocket those things to walk over and do something else and worry about them later. It's worry and dread are the ones that I just cannot, they can't, camp out in my brain and I can't get away from them. The laying up all night because did I mess this thing up? Did I break this machine? Did I leave this thing unlocked? Is the house going to get foreclosed on? Like those things just dwell in me and I cannot get away from them ever. There is no distraction. There is nothing. There is only Zool.
There is only Zool. All right, are we ready for a new question? This is a question from a woman of unknown age from Whisper. I believe she was over 18. I just didn't screenshot it. I know she was over 18. I wouldn't have accepted a question from anybody under 18. Okay. I'm not used to poly, and I've had issues in the past with my boyfriends and even my husband cheating on me. And my only rule was if the man wanted to sleep with another girl, that was fine. Just bring her home. I'm bi. I don't care. Just involve me, and they could have brought home whomever they wanted. I left my children's father within the last few months, and he was abusive to all of us. And I left pregnant with our 3rd child. I found out a week ago or so that he got another girl pregnant as well, and she's a month ahead of me. So it's making the fact that the relationship I've started working with in poly is very, very hard. So we have somebody who has come from an abusive, cheating situation and is in a new poly relationship and is struggling to trust their partner. There's a clarification down below. Let me look. I've been cheated on before, and when I made the rule, and I thought it would give a little more openness and less chance for cheating. It backfired for sure. I'm definitely feeling insecurity. I want to get used to it for the new guy. I really like him, and I don't want my jealousy to get in the way because this guy that she's dating is poly, and she's not quite poly, and she's new to poly.
Okay, so all the stuff about
the
bi and bringing another girl home, that's all prologue.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
With an ex who cheated, and she was like, you don't have to cheat. Like, you can fuck anybody. Just bring him home. Like, I'll fuck him with you too. It's fine. Like, I'll
taking agency out of the hands of the third party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That person has no say in the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that a little
That's
problematic.
a
But
complicated situation.
Well, so I think the most important thing to address for this person is that they've experienced cheating in previous relationships and now they're trying to have a poly relationship and they're feeling a lot of insecurity.
yeah, but
And I think that happens.
Isn't that more not trying to deal with jealousy so much as trying to deal with betrayal?
But the jealousy comes from the insecurity.
Yeah, yeah.
But the guy that she's dating isn't betraying her.
That's what I'm saying.
But she still feels jealous.
If you feel that jealousy, it's likely because of the betrayal, which is not the same thing. So what I'm saying to this question is that you can learn to see the differences between what a past thing was and what a current thing is. They're not necessarily the same thing, even if they feel the same way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a whole process of relearning habits. Because
Exactly.
if you were in a relationship where you felt like you constantly had to monitor and you constantly had to be vigilant, and every, person that they come into contact with is a threat in that way, that's going to be difficult to unlearn potentially. That could take a while.
Yeah.
And hopefully, the new partner understands where you're coming from because you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that puts a lot of pressure on the new relationship.
So I'm wondering two things. I'm wondering how open she's been about the entirety of her history with her new partner. And Erik, what you said, that makes me think of what you and I have talked about. And I think we talked about on the podcast about historical thoughts, like historical thinking, like with our anxiety episode. Yeah. Where, you're having emotional responses to things that happened in the past, but it's in a current situation.
Yeah, it sounds like a person that needs to talk to somebody professional
that's
or
above my
clergy
pay
or
grade.
whatever is their personal choice of thing to work out some stuff.
And also, pregnancy is hard and there are lots of chemicals there too, and that can amplify, and hormones absolutely amplify any chemicals.
And
I would recommend talking to at least your OBGYN about having anxious feelings.
And also, that's also added a layer of stress and forcefulness to the situation, right? Like, if it wasn't for that, maybe you could walk away from this relationship for right now until you figure some stuff out and figure out if it's right for you. But you have this layer of pressure that's added on because of that commitment.
But the baby's not with him.
Oh, yeah, I don't understand anything that's going on in this question.
I lost part of that
Okay.
part of it.
Yeah.
Well, we can just move on then. I think the answer is basically we think that you should maybe seek some mental assistance, some help with anxiety, some help with those historical thoughts and processing abuse, because it sounds like you've been through some trauma and we're very sorry for that. And also talk to your doctors to make sure that you're working with your doctors and any mental healthcare professionals. And also take some time to talk to your partner about your experience and make sure that they understand that the feelings that you're having now may not be related to what's going on right now. And they might be cropping up because of the experience of betrayal, like Erik said, that happened in the past.
Yes, but to point just a tiny bit finer point on that, all of that it's not necessarily the same thing. It could just feel that way. That's also not to say that it's not the same thing happening again and you should ignore that. Because it very well could be a repeating sort of dynamic in which, good, now you know what it feels like and look into it further.
Right, anything else for that one? Just checking my phone real quick. So
That's my phone.
talk amongst yourselves.
Chatter.
Vamping.
Conversing.
Vamping. We are not. This is the vamping portion of the podcast. We're vamping.
Hi, Chastain here from the podpodcvlcast, and we are happy to announce that we are now an affiliate with Instacart. Save yourself a trip to the market. Instacart will deliver groceries in as fast as 1 hour, and they connect you with personal shoppers in your area to shop and deliver groceries from your favorite local stores. You just have to follow the link in our show notes, and that lets Instacart know that we sent you and helps support our show. There are multiple stores available, and you can shop all your favorites in a single order. The products you love come from the local stores that you love, with items that are hand-selected by shoppers based on your preferences. And they do a really great job of picking the freshest produce and keeping your eggs safe too. Instacart highlights deals to save you money. You can download their app and they'll show you coupons. We're offering free delivery on your first order over $35. Or you can also get 2 weeks of free deliveries if you sign up for Express. So check out Instacart, support the podpodcvlcast, and I'll let you get back to the show. All right. So have we covered jealousy? Is there anything else we need to say about jealousy?
That was it. That was all the questions we had.
Yeah. So jealousy and envy are a similar thing, but not the same.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Talk to your partners.
Yep.
Use your big boy words.
Podcast rule number 1.
Let's see. We gave out some good coping skills. I'll make sure to list those in the show notes.
Be sure to go for a drive. And season 2 of The Wire.
Season 2 of The Wire.
Okay, that's all of Eric's got it.
Go for a drive and season 2 of The Wire. Okay, so I know that this has been kind of a heavy episode, so I thought that we would have a little bit more fun. So instead of talking just about jealousy, I thought we could answer some questions in the crush/relationship advice group from Whisper. Are you ready?
Okay.
Probably not.
Help! I don't know how to talk to my crush.
Oh.
I don't either.
Yeah, This is not a skill I ever learned, so. All right, that one was successful. This is going much better than the jealousy question.
Okay, all right, next up. I was doing my boyfriend's laundry for him, and I found a condom in his pocket. We don't use condoms.
All right, well.
Drop that 0 and get yourself a hero.
All right. Hi, I currently live with my girlfriend and her child, but I fell
Drop that 0, get yourself a hero. Next.
But I fell in love with this woman and she's pregnant now with my child. She wants to have a family with me, and yes, she loves me. What do I do?
# just be Polly.
All right.
Wait. No, these
what?
awful answers from all of us.
No, this is good. Okay. All right. No, it's just fine. I was in a relationship for 8 years. I never thought about any girl without her, but last year she left me alone. Now my friend said I became mad. Now her friend said I become mad. Who try to find her in... I've become
Next
a man...
question. I can't follow this.
I hate, capital H, number 8, that my boyfriend compares his life to his sister's. She's spoiled and had everything handed to her. Her job, the place she's moving to, with her boyfriend, her schooling, everything. He had to work for it for himself.
Tell him to go fuck his sister.
All right. I've been friends with her for about 6 months now, and I just started liking her. I'm afraid to ask her out because it may ruin our friendship.
Wait, are we still on the sister question?
No.
Okay.
I've been friends with...
Man, this is a long whisper, dude.
I've been friends with her for about 6 months now, and I just started liking her. I'm afraid to ask her out because it may ruin our friendship in some way. Any advice?
In which way?
In some way.
Man,
In safe way.
Just accept it. You're already in the friend zone.
All right. The fact that my boyfriend wants to share me with someone makes me very uncomfortable, and I don't know how to tell him.
# just be Polly.
All right. How do I show him I like him? I'm pretty sure he shares some type of interest in me. I'm just shy around him, and I want to show him I like him.
Ask him want a bone next.
I usually say suck his dick. All right. Been a while since I posted here, but I think I'm going to need relationship advice. That's it.
You probably do. If this is where you're coming.
Bookmarked for later.
You gotta give one piece of advice, though.
I'm going to marry him. Like, not even a joke. I'm going to do it. And it's a picture of a cat drinking from a Starbucks cup.
She's going
That's
to
not a
marry a
question.
cat drinking
Next.
from a Starbucks cup. This is the future liberals want.
She said she doesn't play mind games, but this hella feels like a mind game. Crying face. I could use some input. Message me.
Is
You
it
already lost.
Because that's a hell of a mind game. Next.
I love my boyfriend, but sometimes I still have thoughts about other people. Is this normal?
# just be Polly.
Next.
Need some crush advice. 19F. Oh, moving on. All I want for Christmas is a Christmas proposal.
Oh.
Stop watching Lexus and K Jeweler commercials.
You're allowed to propose.
I need a female
Oh,
perspective
shit.
on...
That was actually a good one. Good one, Hannah.
Thank you.
Next.
I need a female perspective in one situation. Please. I'm pretty desperate here. DM me. Trap. I need help.
Yeah.
Trap. This guy I like always makes time to spend with me, and I appreciate it, but I'm starting to think he doesn't want to do anything else with his life, but wait until I'm free every day.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Are you into that or not?
Hashtag just be poly. My question is too long for Whisper. Can any ladies help me out?
Oh,
Probably not.
That's not
too long.
That's not all. It's too long for the
That
Whisper.
was transparent and not very clever.
If your significant other has a lot of anger issues, how would you deal with it? Or would you just break up with them?
Go to therapy. Not even joking.
The guy I'm with doesn't want to break up with his girlfriend before her birthday. I think it will hurt her more, but I don't know how to talk to him about it.
She thinks she'll hurt her more?
The guy I'm with doesn't want to break
Fucking go
up
to
with
town.
his girlfriend.
Go off, queen.
Before her birthday. I think waiting will hurt her more, but I don't know how to talk to him about
Go
it.
off,
She's
queen.
talking about herself?
No.
The guy that she's with and his girlfriend? Like,
His girlfriend is not her.
Well, it could
She's
be.
the side piece.
I mean,
No. I swear every time I think something will...
I swear every time I think two. Next!
Swear every time I think something will be plain sailing, suddenly everything gets muddled up and I'm confused as to what's actually going on.
That's
Us too.
life.
I'm thinking of trying dating again. To be honest, I'm not sure what kind of relationship I'm looking for. Kind of counterproductive if you ask me. I feel stuck. Advice? Question mark, question mark?
Trap?
on what?
Exactly. Question now is, how lonely does a housewife really get?
6.
6, okay. When
On a scale of
When
a million.
boyfriend leaves the room, he always leaves the door open. It doesn't matter if I'm naked or in the shower or getting undressed. Our roommates have probably seen me naked.
Hot.
Just be
Next.
poly.
Do other girls get farted on by their boyfriend, or
Oh.
is it just me?
It's just you.
I've never been farted on by my boyfriend. Next!
How does heartbreak feel? How does it feel when someone you like doesn't like you back?
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
Next!
My friend is a girl, and I try to do as much as I can for her. But even still, she
this
doesn't
fucking
care.
Guy, this fucking
She dates
incel
all
asshole.
these. She dates all these asses because they're ripped and hot, and I'm fatter. Am I able to get her
Yeah,
to ignore
fucking
my
go.
looks?
Chads.
Go look into every John Hughes movie.
I want you to want me, and I want to make you happier than she does. So
Well,
choose
I
me,
need
pick
you to
me,
need
love
me. Next!
Even when it's clear someone likes me back, I'm scared to initiate anything because I think they'll be annoyed and won't like it. Then stop being fucking annoying.
Oh.
I can't commit to a girl for so long. I sleep with so many, but can't bring myself to invest all my time into one girl for a relationship.
Just be poly.
Humble brag, player.
Yeah, really.
Hey girls, if y'all have any questions or need to vent or need advice, just hit me up. I love helping others and hopefully I can help you. Hope y'all have a great day. 28 Male, Texas.
They ain't gonna show you your. They ain't gonna send you nude pictures, dude.
Is it rude to distance yourself from a person because they have the same self-inflicted problems over and over? It's just frustrating to watch.
Oh, well, now you got a
Therapy.
real one.
Next.
My crush and I were casually talking, and he told me he's not into dating right now and goes only after older women. Well, at least we can still be friends.
Oh, just
He's not
real
into
quick
dating?
aside. Do people actually refer to other people as their crush?
Yes, this is
This is a crush group.
This is a crush group, but
No,
yes.
I know, but like people older than 12?
Yes.
I'm not aware of this.
I have a question for tall girls. Me too, baby.
Yeah, I have a few.
Like, how's the weather up there, Stretch?
Yeah,
That sort of question.
Hey, could a couple of women tell me what they think about my Tinder profile? And this text is over a picture of a puppy being held up with one hand.
All that the sun shines on.
How do I stop being so jealous?
A cat.
Just stop. I don't know how this is confusing to people. You can't call it a date if your intentions from the start are just to be friends.
Yeah,
think that's
Yeah, you can.
yeah, but who calls it a date?
There are people who have coffees and they're just coffees, like friendly coffees. And
Right,
these are,
but they probably don't call it a
and
date.
this is
They call it a
everybody
coffee.
who asks Erik to coffee ever.
Right, but they don't call it a date. They call it a coffee.
But they call it a coffee, but it's a date.
But this is the opposite problem.
You ever just want someone? Sorry. You ever just want one person's approval above anything else? God's.
My dad.
I want to text him, even though he hasn't texted me in a week. But when I saw him the other day, he gave me a hug and ran his fingers through my hair and caressed my back. I wish he'd text me. Just fucking text him.
Yeah, I mean, you might just get blocked and then you have your answer.
Yeah. Ladies, what's the shortest man you would date? Probably about 5 inches.
What's that dude from Game of Thrones? He's real handsome.
Oh, God, yes, I would.
He's the shortest man I'd date.
Peter Dinklage, I would do some bad things to that man. And his sister Cersei. I really need advice about my ex. I still love him, and I'm so unsure of the future. Please message me.
There.
Anyone? Okay, never mind. I'm skipping that one. I need a fun date.
I do too. Next.
A date idea or a person to date who is fun.
Yeah, not specific.
I need more information.
I've been alone for a while. I need a girl. Frowny face.
Incel in the making.
I hooked up with a guy knowing he was on a break with his girlfriend. Does that make me a bad person? No, it doesn't. It's his responsibility, and he was on a break.
Good job. Hope it was fun.
Hope you used protection. Get tested. I met a beautiful girl last night, which is a big deal for me. Cool story, bro. Need a girl to critique my Bumble profile. LMAO.
I wish it was like, need a girl to critique my Bumble
Lamau.
bee.
My Bumblebee.
I would do that. Show me your bumblebee.
Show us, everybody, please send us your bumblebees. That's the pod at podpodcvlcast.com, or you can message us on Instagram at cult with a V.
Hashtag Hannah rate my bumblebee.
Hashtag Hannah rate my bumblebee.
I will rate it.
I don't find skinny girls attractive, but no plus size girls are attracted to me. 'Cause you're ugly. Next.
Jesus, dude.
Wow.
Oh, I'm kidding. I thought we were being mean. You're not ugly.
Too mean.
You're not ugly. I just like guys with 6-packs. That's not true.
Yeah, which guy here has a six-pack?
Together, I got like an 18-pack.
I got a keg.
Oh, wow. Jealousy appears.
I like whiskey.
I have some boxed wine. Fine boxed wine. You know, you take the bag out of the box and then, never mind. You wear it like a pregnancy belly and then you can go drink wine at the movies. How do you know when giving up is an option?
It's always an option.
Pause, though, because it's really important that you know that you can stop at any time. I don't care what the thing is. You don't have to do it.
You know, it's real easy. Not doing anything.
Yes. The easiest choice is to just not do it.
Don't do it. Now accepting applications for love.
Great.
I think my Sisyphean task is going to be answering whisper questions.
Must answer every question.
Like Dante will come around and I'm like strapped to a chair answering whisper questions.
Oh, we haven't
and
even.
He's gonna be like, "What's this about?" I'm like, "I don't know, dude."
Oh, howdy, Gary, buddy.
Okay.
How's your day going?
All right. So your punishment now, Max.
Yeah.
37 male here and married for 15 years. Open for questions.
How's your day going?
That's all right. How's your day?
On how to be married for 15 years?
I'm pretty sure he just wants women to talk to him.
Oh, okay. I forgot where we were. We're in Whisper.
It didn't take long for me to fall for him. 2 years later, and I'm still too scared to tell him I love. This is mine. Never mind. I've developed feelings.
He said yes.
He said yes. I've developed feelings for my best friend. Oliver, I love you, baby doggy.
Oh.
Someone let me rant about my relationship problems real fast, please.
Like
it.
the Micro Machine
Yeah.
Man.
Ah.
Reference.
Hang on, what was that guy's name? Kim Machida, I think.
John Micro Machine.
How long should you
John
date
Machine.
someone before saying I love you for the first time? I don't know. How long should that be, Eric?
Oh, snap. He said yes.
He said yes. I like 2 guys, but I'm torn.
Which 2?
I don't know. It's just a picture of fluffy clouds. I don't know who to go for, or if I go for both, or what. Go for both.
For what?
Hannah.
Eiffel
I could
Tower.
just be Polly.
It was John Machida.
Oh, I'm ready to be in a relationship again. And not knowing what's going to happen hurts.
Drop that 0. Get yourself a hero. Next.
I think this girl's into me, but I'm not sure. Can I get somebody else's input?
Oh, and whether...
Can you read this girl's mind? Do y'all think it's worth it to try and build a relationship when both people are so busy that they can rarely see each other and have to fight sleep even to talk each other? Yes, absolutely. Get separate bedrooms. Never talk to each other. You'll have a great relationship.
Oh.
Ladies, would you date a guy who's 5'3"? Why are men so obsessed with height?
Is it a man? I don't know.
Well, I assume that when they say ladies...
That just means that they're asking ladies. It has no...
I'm pretty sure it's a dude. I'm going to click on it. It's going to be a dude. It's a dude. Ladies, what do you consider as a date?
It's a nut.
Yeah.
No, I thought dates are fruits.
Oh,
Fruit with a nut inside.
And sometimes it's fruit
Is it
and
really?
cake.
I have no idea what a date is.
I don't know.
It's a fruit.
So my crush told me he doesn't want a relationship right now, but he still hits me up and says, "What's up? Advice?"
He says, "What's up, advice?"
No, he says, "What's up?"
It's
She
her
says
name, advice.
Her name is
Because that's
advice.
a weird name. Next.
Knowing a narcissist makes you aware. Marrying one is the end of your world as you know it. Run from a narcissist. Yes, girl.
Yeah, I saw that series of bumper stickers earlier today.
I need a woman to love forever. Broken heart emoji. Eyes sideways emoji.
Love isn't forever.
Nothing is forever.
Only Zool. Nope, wrong. Nope, not that. Go on.
No,
Ran
Zool didn't last
ran
very
into
long
my
either.
ex while wearing his homeboy's favorite sweatshirt. What up, dumbass?
Go off, Queen! You got his ass!
To shave or leave a bush on my wrench?
On your
Wrench?
Pretty sure he means dick.
Why do you have that much hair growing on your dick?
Yeah.
We're concerned about your hairy dick.
Bigfoot ass motherfucker.
Check out my wrench bush.
Can a cool girl come into my life?
Probably not. Is that
I mean,
with two
she
Ks?
can
Is
if
it?
she wants to, I guess.
Not this way.
My boyfriend
Not
never,
like this. Not like
Oh,
this.
switch.
my boyfriend never wants to have sex. He always has a headache, is too tired, or has an upset stomach. I'm
Welcome
going
to
crazy.
It's a really hairy dick. It's the same
Do you
guy.
guys remember
That's the joke. It's the same guy.
Do you remember this? Do you remember the story about the couple in England and they didn't wash their sheets for like years and they had cats and she had a fur ball in her hoo-ha?
No.
I did not want to
Her
remember
vagina?
that.
They found a fur ball in her vagina. They would have sex.
Who was looking?
She went her doctor.
How do you not wash your sheets and all that cat hair?
They were nasty.
Ooh, please wash your sheets and don't have a hairball inside
And
you.
just be Polly and
Just
see a
do
therapist
probably go see a therapist.
and go off, Queen.
Don't be nasty.
I'm so attracted to my sister's boyfriend.
Hey,
Me
we're
too.
Going full circle.
Cuddles and butt grabs would make a perfect date.
Yeah, okay. Hold on. Let's pause for a second. What's with the butt grab thing? What's with the touching the butt thing? What's with the like?
Buy me tacos and touch my butt.
Yeah. What's
Oh,
that?
yeah,
Touch my
what is
butt
it
and
with
tell me
that?
I'm pretty.
What's that? What's going on there?
You know, sometimes it's nice to have your butt touched in like a... There was this time, like there have been times when...
Across the mists of time.
Across the mists of time, when partners have just casually like touched my butt in a like not showy way, just a like, hey, I like this butt. I'm going to touch this butt. It has been a special moment for me. And I remember those times. I'm thinking of them now.
Definitely think that was just a stand-in for like show me physical affection.
Yeah, I think it's just like show me physical affection, but also that you think I'm sexy, but also we're like comfy because we're eating tacos, and that doesn't require me to be sexy, but you still think I'm sexy when I eat a taco. That's what I feel like.
I mean,
that's the vibe.
Their joke writes itself.
You think I'm sexy when I eat a taco? A fish taco?
Oh, nope. Too far.
All right. Two more.
Come on. Yeah.
2 more. I kind of wish that there weren't so many good guys who were strongly affected by bad things that happened in past relationships.
Their past relationships or yours?
Oh no. We're all affected by our past relationships, guys.
I'm affected by her past relationships.
Yeah.
And last one.
This
We ready?
better be a good one.
I was told by my psychic that I will marry an attorney. If you are one, PM me. Laughing crying face.
I was told by my psychic I'd marry a psychic, and I've been married to that psychic for 10 years.
Was it
I
me?
was told by my attorney that I would marry a psychic.
And now I need an attorney to divorce that psychic.
A psychic walked into a bar. She should have seen that coming.
She did.
You know what? The listener couldn't see your delivery with your teacup.
Yeah.
It's not tea at this point. It's just whiskey.
Oh, that explains a lot.
What does that explain?
Nothing. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Everybody have a good time.
Bye. You've just heard the Podpodcvlcast with your hosts Max, Chastain, Hannah, and Erik. Our theme song is Spencer Blues by Lobo Loco. Our break music is by Gabbarino on YouTube. We have a listener survey going on right now, and we would love your feedback. If you could take 10 minutes to visit www.podpodcvlcast.com/survey2019, we would love to hear from you. Give us your feedback on our episode length, how often we release, and the content that we provide. We want to make the best podcast for ourselves and for you. Thank you so much for listening.